Hello, interwebs, and welcome to the Frak This podcast. I am your toasty host, Jesse Gender, and I am joined, as always, by...
It's Vera. What are we toasting?
My hoodie. That's the hoodie I'm wearing is very toasty.
Which you're now going to have to explain because the audience cannot see.
So yes, the hoodie that I am wearing, I just found interesting. It's a Battlestar Galactica hoodie. So it says Battlestar Galactica on it. It has like a cool stripe. It's actually a very cool like retro hoodie. But I didn't expect to get it, but I went to, and I meant to have this on the last episode because it happened before last episode, but I forgot. I went to Universal Fan Fest, which is the like corporate theme park thing that they're doing with like, oh look, it's Dungeons and Dragons, oh it's Star Trek, oh look, it's One Piece. I went. It was decently fun, but it is very like, here's a bunch of brands that we have that we can shove at you. But I enjoyed it. I had a good time. But what was weird about it was they had a bunch of gift shops, obviously, because it's a theme park. And they had a bunch of stuff for all the things that were there, like Star Trek, and I bought a bunch of that shit, because of course I did.
Naturally.
Nothing says post-capitalism like buying a bunch of shit. But they had, weirdly, despite it not being there at all, like it wasn't represented in any of the events or anything, a ton of Battlestar Galactica things. I don't know why. So I was like, well, I gotta buy one of them. Like, it feels too... Like, I don't own any Battlestar Galactica merch, and considering we have a show about it, I felt like I needed to. So this was the coolest one. It has this, like, cool retro stripe and everything. But, like, it was just very weird. I was like, why the Battlestar Galactica stuff? Like, it had nothing to do with anything. Like, It was weird. The only thing I could be like, I guess Star Trek is vaguely related. So,
and it was also a little,
and it's also like it was also like mostly the older Battlestar Galactica, not like the pictures are like the older Cylons. This is the closest one to the newer one because it has like the symbol for the newer Galactica on it as one of like the symbols that are on it. But like most of it is older stuff. So like I really had no idea what was the point. It was very weird. Yeah. So that was just the other reason I was like, all right, I have to tell this weird story about where I got this strange hoodie. So, yeah. How are you? You had a vacation.
I did. I had a vacation. I went with my boyfriend. We went to Provincetown.
Yeah.
On Cape Cod, which was really lovely. It rained for part of it, but it was still real nice. We had good food. We went on the beach. We saw the sunset. We walked on the causeway, which I don't recommend.
Why?
Like is
it cold?
Well, no, it's just so insanely unlike. It's not a flat causeway. It's not like here's a walk. Like you can walk on it. You're encouraged to, but it's like it's just a bunch of rocks and chunks of concrete placed together increasingly haphazardly as it goes. And so, especially if it's been raining lately and it's a little slippery, you are finding yourself taking very large steps over not pleasant looking drops on wet rocks. So I don't super recommend it, especially because when you get to the other end, the only thing there is to do is turn around and go back.
Yeah.
Because like there's a lighthouse out there on the other end, but there isn't a path to it. So I don't think you actually can just walk to it from there. And even if you did, that'd probably be another 40-minute walk.
Man.
So like, I'm not upset that I did it, but I wouldn't do it again and I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. I've done those before. Like I've gone on trips where it's like, yeah, you could walk this. You might die and there's no railing, but you'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was good. Overall, it was good. And I got recognized.
Oh, by
in
who?
A sex shop.
Oh yeah, that feels about right. Yeah.
Yeah. That really made my day because I'm used to if I get recognized, it's usually at geek events. It's at Comic Cons and like Gallifrey one. I get recognized a lot because it's Doctor Who specific, and I talk about that a lot. But like getting recognized in a sex shop in the gayest place on earth, I'm like, yeah, this just feels good. I love this. This is great.
That feels appropriate for you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was
proud
fantastic.
Proud of you.
I'm proud of me too.
Mm-hmm.
and we ate some absurd food.
Mm-hmm.
There was one place we went. They had what they called corn ribs.
Which
so
is like ribs made out of corn, or is it
sort of
ribs? Yeah,
sort of. So like they've taken corn on the cob, and it's seasoned kind of like street corn.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of like they've shaved it, and not like taking it off the cob, but they've shaved a part of the cob and sort of heated it so it curled a little bit. So the overall shape of the cob is kind of rib shaped, and you hold it like it's a rib and eat the...
That sounds very elaborate for what is essentially just hot corn on the cob.
It was fun. It's oddly fun. And then one of the last places we went to a place called what was it, the Grilled Cheese Gallery.
Ooh.
And I had a grilled cheese sandwich where the cheese was macaroni and cheese.
That sounds beautiful. I want it.
I got a sandwich specifically called the Pimp Daddy. The cheese in your grilled cheese was homemade macaroni and cheese with bacon in it.
Mm.
And they brought it out on this wooden serving tray, and it said pimp in balsamic reduction across the tray.
Amazing. I love it.
It was great.
Oh.
I love Provincetown so much. It's so gay and weird and artsy, and it's great. And like one of the nice things about it, I was telling my boyfriend about this, is that it doesn't have sort of the level of gentrification you usually get with a lot of artsy areas, like a lot of, this is where all the artists are, the Bohemian. Then you find out the history is like, they pushed out all the black people and all the Hispanics, and okay. That isn't really the case with Provincetown. It was a dying ex-whaling town that had like second and third generation Portuguese immigrant families who were not pushed out. They're still there. I went to a Portuguese bakery. It was great. But the gays just moved in over time. And so it's not like they pushed anybody out to get there. It's just the artsy, gay, queer people just kind of showed up. I mean, there's the base level, we stole it all from indigenous people issue with the entire fucking country. But it doesn't have the extra layer that a lot of artsy areas tend to have when you look into their history at all.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, good. That sounds like a true American treasure. I hope you sang, the Twilight's last Gleaming there. Speaking of which...
That was tortured as hell.
I was trying.
Damn.
I was trying. I was real trying. We're talking about today the penultimate episode of Battlestar Galactica's first season, titled Kobol's Last Gleaming Part 1. Yes, we have reached a part 1 of 2, and oh boy, is this an episode?
So, I'm gonna say something right up front. I stopped taking notes about a third of the way in because they kept being, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And why is this happening? And like, here's the thing. We'll get into it as we go, but to be clear to listeners, I am not saying this in a these are bad plot turns way. I am saying this in a I feel like I missed an episode way.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many storylines that take huge leaps from the last time we saw them, or at least the last time I remember we see them. And here's the one caveat that I will make. My brain is fucking fried. And not just from vacation, like covering new episodes of Doctor Who, covering The Last of Us, covering Andor, doing this. I legitimately tried to think back to just the previous episode from last week. Like, wait, was any of this stuff set up? And I couldn't fucking remember. So it is possible that the situation isn't quite as bad as my brain thinks it is, just because I'm at capacity. I am retaining fucking nothing.
To be fair, I am also at capacity as well for many reasons, many of the same reasons and other ones that Vera, that listeners don't. But yeah. You're not I had the same reaction. Also, you say, oh, it's not bad plot turns. There's also some plot turns in this. I'm like, what the, I legitimately, I'm like, what are we doing?
Let me put it this way. I don't think, there aren't many, there might be one or two, but there aren't many plot turns that I think are unworkable or unjustifiable. I just feel like we skipped whatever episode would have justified what's going on now in a lot of cases.
Yes, I agree. I think a lot of these turns could happen, but then there's like the ways they take some of them that I'm like, the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, I legit, I don't know what to make of this. I was dumbfounded by the time it was done.
Well, let us get into it. We start off with an opening sort of sequence that is intercutting between a couple different scenes. We have Adama and Lee boxing together. They
should really have more padding on than they do. They
hit each other hard.
I know. They have boxing gloves. They have the mouth guards, but that's it. No padding on the head, nothing on the chest. I'm like, dudes, come on. Like, I understand that you probably have enough restraint to not properly hurt each other, but like, just for safety, if one of you gets badly hurt, it's bad for everybody. Come on, man. I don't care. And like, I'm sure the explanation is like, yeah, but nobody looks cool with like this padded helmets. Like,
I don't know. I saw that Star Trek The Next Generation episode where they put all the padding on and they had the little sticks. That was pretty cool.
Well, yeah, you say all the padding doesn't look cool. May I remind you, the amazing trampoline judo in The Prisoner.
Yes, beautiful. But yeah.
I wish I could remember what the hell that was called.
I forget what it was.
It was gloriously stupid.
We do have Adama telling Lee, you don't lose control, which Lee says, thanks, stupid. And Adama's like, no, you got to let your instincts take over. And he said, I thought we were just sparring. And Adama says, that's why you don't win. Kind of a little bit of a reiteration of the beat that we got a couple episodes ago, where it's like Lee had to take Starbuck's spot in the attack.
Yeah, it kind of feels like we just did that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a repeated character beat for him. But then we go over to Starbuck and Baltar having sex.
So this is my first, what the fuck? When did this happen?
It's not that I couldn't buy it, but yeah, it does feel like weirdly out of nowhere.
Yeah, I could buy it, especially given that later on Starbuck will justify it basically with just the line, I'm a screw up. And like, look, if you are in a headspace with your own sense of self-esteem where you just assume, well, I'm a fuck up, so I might as well just fuck up. Yeah, this kind of shit happens. Don't ask me why I know. But this is still a massive fucking leap. I don't remember these two doing more than like giving a tiny bit of side eye, and that felt more like her snickering at him half the time.
Yeah. Back in like episode 3 or 4, there was that scene where he first played poker with her and he was a bit suave, but that was like episodes ago. Like there was been
but then she walked in on him jerking off. It seemed like she thought he was kind of pathetic.
Yeah, and I have other thoughts on that screw up line that we'll get to later on how that emotionally is justified for her. We'll get there though. But yeah, during this scene, she says Lee's name during sex, which Baltar is clearly kind of weirded out by as she leaves. Then we have Hilo on Caprica running. Runs into Toomer, who has somehow caught up, got ahead of him.
We like at this point, can we even assume it's the same one?
Yeah. I think we're led to assume that it's the same one.
Yeah, I guess so. Who the fuck knows at this point? But I did just write down, and in my mind, it said like it's from Forrest Gump. Run, Hilo, run!
Yeah. Well, he does shoot her, but he can't bring himself to kill her and takes her with him, excuse me.
Yeah.
So, then we have the Boomer on Galactica clearly thinking of dying by suicide.
Now this is the other one I'm like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, it's not that I could never see her getting there. Like, she's clearly had a lot of angst and existential dread and a lot of uncertainty, but like, this is like 4 or 5 steps down the line from last time we touched on any of this.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, okay, I guess we're here now. Like, I remember this being a season 2 bit, legitimately. Like, I remember the scene, the visual of her with the gun in her mouth. I don't know if she puts it in her mouth in this scene, but that visual I remember quite distinctly. But I thought it was in a season 2 episode.
Yeah, like I legitimately, I think it was at this point, I did pause and double check and make sure we didn't miss an episode, because I really felt like that this is too many things that feel like they've jumped ahead.
Yep. Nope, it's not. But yeah, she is called away for a pre-flight briefing. So those are all little vignettes that we get before our opening credits. After the opening credits, we cut to Rosalind getting a CT scan with Billy and Coddle, but then she's talking with the priest after that, who tells her that, Rosalind tells her she has 6 months to live. The priest has said, "You made a true believer out of me, strange as that sounds. I believe you're the one who will lead us to our salvation and guide us to Earth." And Rosalind says, "Better find it soon." This one also, it's not as egregious. This one also did feel like a little bit of a jump to me, because it's like, there's only been one instance of the priest sort of like seeing Rosalind get a vision, and it's very vague. It was like, oh, she saw snakes. Like it didn't. There was no like literal like, oh, this is definitely happening. So it's like she's already all bought in.
Yeah. This is like, this feels like, honestly, it didn't even jump out at me because it feels like one of the lesser leaps.
Yeah, it's not as egregious as the rest of them, but it is a little.
But no, you're not wrong, because like I did make the point that like, it wasn't just that she saw snakes, it was a specific number of snakes, and like stuff was lining up, so she has a reason. But like, going this all in, you made a believer out of me, does seem slightly premature.
Yeah. Actually, I just like, I know there isn't an episode between these. I double checked too, because I felt weirded out by it, but it's like, I'm curious if I want to look and see if there's like production
pulled
notes.
Episode.
Yeah, if there was like a pulled episode or something. Yeah, there's no.
I don't think so, because there was nothing that happened in like the previously on that wasn't stuff I hadn't seen.
No, well, no, not a pulled episode in the sense that like it aired and they pulled it from streaming or whatever.
A planned episode.
They planned
that was
an
never
episode,
shot?
and then they had to like cut it from production for like budget or whatever reason. And so like this, they're just like, well, we'll just go with this script. People will catch up, I guess. But I can't find any note. It does feel like that. You know what I mean? So maybe they did.
It really does.
Yeah. We then cut to a poker game between Crashdown, Baltar, Lee, Dwala, and Gata. Baltar is clearly just venting his jealousy about Starbuck at
which
at
also,
Lee.
like, what the fuck do you mean he's jealous? Like, here's, again, I could see getting there just in the general sense of, like, he's just used to life handing him fucking everything. Mm-hmm. And the idea that something that he thought he'd gotten wasn't fully his. I could see that rubbing him up the wrong way. Except this is played like bog standard, oh, but she doesn't love me, jealousy. And I'm like, bullshit.
Even Head 6 is like seemingly weirded out by it. She's like, I hate seeing you this common. It's so disappointing. Like, even she's just like,
well, yeah, she's gonna ask him like, do you love her? And I was like, how is that even a valid question?
Yeah, it's like, why does he have feelings for Starbuck all of a sudden?
Yeah, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so fucking weird. Yeah, Baltar is kind of angry at both Lee and kind of ignoring Head 6, and then Starbuck comes in, and he's weird to her about it. Like, in a way that Adama kind of picks up on, like, all right, something happened. Like, Lee picks up on it, so.
Yeah.
So yeah, Baltar's just being generally shitty and jealous and weird. Like, it fits his character in terms of like something he would do, but I don't buy he's that invested in Starbuck at the moment, you know?
Yeah, like again, it's being played like he has actual emotional investment, which I don't buy. It should have been played, honestly, pettier.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been played more like a...
I got the girl, and now there's this other guy who wants her. Like, it shouldn't have been love. It should have just been
it should have been played more like a child annoyed that somebody else played with his toy.
Yes.
It should have been petulant,
yes.
and it's not.
Yes, exactly. We then cut to Rosalind talking to Baltar, and she's talking to him about like different plans. One thing just to note, she's saying we're going to go back to a currency-based standard economy. Where I'm like, oh, they're making capitalism. You goddamn neoliberal asshole, Rosalind.
Yep.
It fits her and what like her ideology is. Like that doesn't feel wrong for her, but fuck that.
Yeah, well, it also feels appropriate that this is happening, an episode after, a dude pointed out, we don't even have money anymore. Why the fuck are we doing this? That as soon as that has been said publicly, they're like, okay, we need to reestablish money like fucking now.
Yeah. We need a labor economy. We need that real bad. Yeah. So I was like,
we need to reassert how we held on to power before, or we're fucked.
Exactly. It's kind of what it reads like. Like it fits like I buy it for who Rosalind is and what she would do. But yeah. No, fuck her for it. Anyways, basically Baltar is kind of having a dual argument between Rosalind and Head 6. So Head 6 basically distracts him, and is like kind of visibly angry about like him having feelings for Starbuck, and kind of going into like, again, don't really buy that he has feelings for Starbuck, but going into the thing of like last episode or however many episodes ago it was, where she said you can sleep with whoever you want, but as long as you have feelings for them, I don't care. So she's jealous because she's angry because he clearly does have feelings for Starbuck. So,
which again, I reject your premise.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to spin off character interactions off a premise I do not buy.
Yes. And also because he's having a dual conversation here, he's also saying to Rosalind that like, I can't handle this. There's too much responsibility. I can't handle like being vice president and like learning all the nitty gritty of this right now.
Yeah, like, he is so visibly cracking, which is an aspect of this I like, because he basically has two people simultaneously being very insistent that he give answers, and he has to try and satisfy both at the same time. And he's almost sort of kinda managing that, but it's clearly got him like at his wit's end, which good. Fuck him.
Mm-hmm. Well, he goes into the bathroom and Head 6.
There was one specific moment that I really liked it, because it's after he's like, you've been working in this bureaucracy and all the rest, like, this, like, I can't wrap my head around this right now. And Rosalind goes, well, you're a genius, are you not? And I just kind of laughed. I'm like, no, he's not. No.
It's like, no.
Keep pressing that idea. You'll realize too. No, he isn't.
Yep. I won't say more about that. But anyways, Head 6 and Baltar go into the bathroom. Head 6 smashes his head into the glass pretty abusively. So again, reads true for her in an abusive lover kind of way. But yeah, it kind of points out what we've been saying. But she does say that the Galactica is not safe. And he sort of tries to suss out what that is. Is it another Cylon bomb? Is it an agent? Something like that. But she doesn't say.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We then cut to Crashdown and Boomer going on a supply run, but they jump in above a planet, like super close to a planet, which I did like. I did like that they were like, oh, we can't jump that close to a planet because of the gravity well of it. Like, that was kind of interesting just from a tech perspective.
Boomer's more upset about it, whereas Crashdown's like, it was fine. I know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they scan the planet and it looks Earth-like. It's like
Caprica-like for them, I'm sure.
Caprica-like for them. Well, he does. Crashdown does, I think, literally ask, "Do you think this is Earth?" And I think Boomer says it's not Earth, but it might be more important than that. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think they even say in that scene, I think it's Kobol.
Yes, they might. Yeah, they might have. But back on Caprica, we have Hilo and Boomer sitting out in the rain, or Tumor, I should say. And Hilo is holding a gun to Tumor, And he sort of doesn't trust her, and he's very adamant. Like, she's saying, I am Sharon. That's the part that you need to understand. And he makes very clear, you are not Sharon. And it's clear to his mind that Sharon, the boomer that we know on Galactica, is a real person still, not a Cylon that she is copying. It's kind of like how he views it.
That's what he thinks is going on.
Mm-hmm. But she's trying to argue, like, no, I am her. Kind of pointing out, like, they're technically both validly Sharon. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We then cut to Lee and Starbuck. And this, oh boy.
Jesus Christ, man.
This scene. This one I almost, like, I was pissed. There's this one and another one. But anyways, Starbuck's working on the Cylon Raider. She says it's a boy now. And basically Lee just comes all in and acts all tough and like, hey, why did you sleep with... So he doesn't say it outright, but he's like, why did you sleep with Baltar? It's you love him and leave him. And like, he's sort of like, I'm just the keg and a pilot who can't keep her pants on. So he basically just acts like a stuck-up, jealous asshole. And then he says something that gets her to punch him, and then he punches her really hard in the fucking face.
Yep.
I was like, the fuck? And then, he says, just tell me why. And she says, it's because I'm a screw-up. Try and keep that in mind. So...
Comparatively, we'll get to the punch in a minute. Comparatively, Lee being this jealous towards Starbuck and Gaius is less of a leap than the other stuff. But this is also a fucking leap. Mm-hmm. Because, like, they have had at most a little bit of, maybe eventually, like,
He's weirdly fucking possessive in a way that felt very strange, and getting really up on his fucking high horse about it is like, ooh. And again, the other leap here too is Starbuck's feelings too, because she's sort of like saying, I'm a screw up, and I'm like, it's not that I don't buy that she's she would believe that about herself. We've seen that come up here and there before, but like the depth of how much she's feeling it doesn't really seem to come out of anywhere. The only way I could argue it makes sense is she's feeling it because Baltar and Lee are treating her like shit, and so she feels like she's gonna feel like a script because they're treating her like shit, which I hate even worse because the weird fucking misogyny about that.
But then we're stuck on point one, which is I don't really get how she ended up fucking guys in the first place. Like, her current state of being makes sense given the way these guys are currently acting around her. But I still don't understand how we got the inciting incident on this.
Yeah.
You're asking me to take for granted that she decided I'll fuck this guy and that now he caught feelings for her, both of one of which I'm like, I don't think I can get there, and the other which I fully reject.
Yeah. It's weird. It's just weird. I don't buy the emotional state, and it just weirdly, not to mention the punch, but like it comes off super, like the whole plot line just comes off real misogynistic.
You know what it feels like? It feels like this episode was written early on, and like it was just assumed like, well, these little plot beats, and
we'll get that.
We'll get them there eventually, and they didn't. But they left the plot beats intact as if they had gotten there, and they just fucking didn't.
It really does. Like, just something's just not lining up, and it's real weird. But yeah, did you want to talk about the punch?
What the hell?
Yeah,
ma'am.
Yeah, like I get that she throws the first punch technically, but
but especially because he is in a position where he is her commanding officer. If he wants to exert authority over her, he has it. It is not necessary for him to punch her in the face to exert authority over her, whether he's doing it pettily or not.
Not to mention there's just the visuals of a dude punching a lady in the face. So
there's that too, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we then cut over to Rosalind, who's looking at pictures of the planet. They said they found evidence of a city abandoned there 2,000 years ago, which is around the same time the 13 tribes left Kobol. But she looks at the images and she sees a full inhabited city in the images. Which then she sort of looks back at it and it's not there anymore. And so she explains to the priest that she saw a dome-like structure with spokes like the forum on Caprica. And there's mention of like the forum in the opera house or like some reference to the opera house stuff. And that the priest says this planet is Kobol. And then Rosalind gets flashes of a bunch of different things, including an arrow. And the priest says this is the birthplace of mankind until the exodus of the 13 tribes. It's real. And here's the prophecies are real. It's so say we all.
Everything's just kind of barreling ahead really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And like, again, groundwork has been laid for almost all of this, but like, just somebody take their fucking foot off the gas.
Yeah. It's like we're going at, I need you at like a 5. You're at like a 10 right now. I need you at a 5. So, yep. So, yeah, she's getting prophecy visions of Kobol and the planet. We then cut back to, well, not back to, but another scene of Boomer putting the gun in her mouth. And Baltar comes in, and it's sort of assumed he saw her do that, even though she tries to hide it. And Head 6 sort of talks to Baltar and says she knows she's a Cylon, and her model was weak, always has been. In the end, she'll carry out her mission, though. She can't be stopped. And Baltar kind of talks to her, and he sort of gives.
Let's, you know what? Let's hold for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I want to drill down on this idea that her model is weak. First of all, like, I'm real curious as like this whole, because like this isn't new.
Mm-hmm.
We've had like these inclinations of animosity between Six and the Boomers, with the stuff going on Caprica. And it seems to be rooted this idea that she's weak because, well, she feels her feelings way more. And that's weird for several reasons. And in this case, I don't necessarily mean weird in a bad writing way, because there's shit that I don't know yet because I'm not supposed to. But I do keep circling back to something that I have said repeatedly. If models like Boomer are intended for infiltration, it just seems like a real bad idea that she's capable of having an existential crisis. That just seems like a massive fucking liability that it's even possible for her to have this kind of problem.
Yeah, I won't spoil stuff. What I will say is it makes some level of sense to me that she would be more emotionally available for one of two potential reasons. A, as an infiltration unit, she should be able to mask human emotions better than like the more like standoffish and reserved Head 6. Like Head 6, not Head 6, like 6 is generally, I should say. Like 6 is generally we've seen just be kind of weirdly cold. There's like even going back to the miniseries where she like speaks to that mother and kills the baby, and like she's just kind of creepy and off. And the only reason that Baltar doesn't really seem to notice is because, you know, he wants to just
she's
fuck
naked.
her. Yeah, it's because he wants to fuck her and he doesn't really give a shit about her personality. So I buy it. Versus someone like the Boomers, who are infiltrating and should be more emotionally open if they're going to try to pass in human society. So there's that, and then there's also the argument that the show hasn't made yet, but it is an option as like to why this might be the case, is that by being exposed to humans more often and being in relationships like with Hilo or the Chief, she has grown feelings in more.
Which I'm going to say right now, I don't want. Like, I think that is the least interesting direction to go. What I really, really want is for the Cylons to have their own way of looking at things, their own way of processing things, their own way of viewing life and the universe and everything. And I don't want them to learn to feel. Like, I just don't. I want to learn how they are, not watch them become human. Well, and I mean that on both an individual and a macro level. Well, I don't want it. I'm not interested.
Well, what? How do I not spoil? I mean, we're only seeing it with Boomer. We haven't gotten, like, we've seen each of the models having different kind of perspectives. Like, sixes are much more standoffish. Like, I like to be more robot-y. We have the boomers who are more emotional and kind of feel closer to human. And then we have the, like, weird religious stuff with, what's his face? Leoben. And then we have the Dorals who feel like more politician-y. Like, being able to negotiate kind of both, like, being more, like, able to negotiate it all. So
I get that it isn't across the board all the silence doing this, but like even on an individual character level, I'm not interested, especially in this. Not to mention, like, do you know how fucking bog standard the machine learns to feel story is in fucking sci-fi? You know how much more interesting it is when they don't? Do you know how much better Baymax is than nearly every other robot because he's just a fucking well-programmed robot?
Yeah, I won't spoil anything. I will say that what you were looking for is not explored in the show.
Okay.
It's just Boomer is the more overtly stereotypical one.
And like the other thing is, like, I mean, the first thing you said, like, I've said that myself. I expect the reason she has these stronger feelings is to make her better at infiltration. But again, not knowing what her goal is, the question I'm left asking at present is it worth it? Because, yeah, it makes her fit in better, but it causes a whole bunch of other fucking problems. So that just brings me back to, why is she there? Like, what is she trying to accomplish that is worth this whole mess?
Fair enough. Well, Baltar does try and talk to her, and he basically sort of says life can be a blessing as well as a curse. There are far worse things than death. And he basically argues, like, he literally says, like, what I say is meaningless. Like, do what you think is best. Embrace what you know to be the right decision. And it kind of is implied that she knows that he knows. And he leaves the room. And we hear Boomer fire a shot. So, presumably attempting to die by suicide.
Yeah!
We then cut to Adama looking at photos of Kobol. And Adama's first instinct, with the president, by the way, and his first instinct is to plan a permanent settlement on the planet and survey these ruins. Head 6 is also in the room with Baltar because he's there, and he says, you don't want to be here when it happens. Again, implying something's going to happen to the Galactica. So Baltar volunteers kind of aggressively that he wants to go down to the planet to gather samples himself, and that as the vice president, he has the authority to do that. So, yeah. And also the President Roslyn is much more like, well, this is Kobol. We should, go and, check this out. They might point the way to Earth, she says. So.
Yep.
We then go to see the chief visiting Boomer in the hospital. She shot herself through the mouth. Looks like she failed in her attempt. And Chief is just actually concerned. He gets like, I don't buy that you forgot to check the chamber. And he sort of says, you need help, because she says, I wonder who I am and I wonder if I'm going to hurt somebody. And she says, I don't need help from you. You made that very clear. I'm on my own. And he says, no, you're not. And she says, thanks for coming. You're dismissed.
And here we are with just like everybody's in their feelings today.
Yeah. And also when she says, I wonder who I am and I wonder if I'm going to hurt somebody, Chief, red flag, go tell somebody that you think she might be a Cylon. I get that he has feelings for her, but like that's a wild red flag line.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. He's got the idiot ball of many people this episode, but
the whole episode is an idiot ball.
Yeah. Well, we cut to a scene that I actually like, where it's Adama and Roslyn, and she basically expresses like, oh, we can find the arrow, use the arrow of Apollo to open up the tomb of Athena. We can find our way to Earth, and the arrow of Apollo is presumably on Caprica. They just need to go back to get it. And Adama's like, I didn't know that you were that religious. And she said, neither did I. Is that bad? And he says, no, there's just new. There's nothing wrong with that. And I really like Adama here. And he says, there is no Earth. You understand that I made it up. And she says, it would seem that we were wrong. And again, Adama sort of says, just because we don't know, he says, I'm not trying to mock your faith. So just let me lay that down here, but they're just myths and legends. Don't let it blind you. And she says, well, what I know is the silent technology outstrips our own. The Raider can go back to Caprica and get the arrow, and we can use it to go back to Earth. So, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a perfectly fine scene, because I think Adama has good reason to be a little bit nervous that she's leaning much more on these religious notions that he only invoked to keep people from despairing.
Mm-hmm.
But he's being very guarded about it, as he always is.
Mm-hmm. Well, I also like his sense of respect too. He's like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just new, and I'm not trying to mock your faith, but he's laying the he's very respectful, which I actually kind of like. So
yeah.
He's the one character that comes out of this episode with me being like, I'm still feeling good about you. But anyways, they send a survey team to Kobol, but send 3 raiders to Kobol. But when they get there, there's a Cylon base ship and a bunch of Cylons there now. One raider gets destroyed, the other gets sent back, and the other one, the one with all of our characters that we like Baltar, crashed down. I think the Chief is on there, and Callie as well, crashed down on the planet.
Whoever was piloting the thing, whoever the hell that dude was, he's dead.
Yeah, he dies pretty badly. All right.
He done got killed to death.
Yes. We go back to the Galactica. There's a quick little scene where Gata sort of says that they have these silent transponders that are used to identify other silent transponders that they have. But then they have a meeting about the base star. And Ty says that Starbuck told him a plan that they would put a nuke on the Cylon Raider, and that she would take it up and use it to blow up the base star so that they can rescue their people. Which Lee gets kind of pissed about in this scene and goes to talk to her, and then he goes down to meet her and he starts yelling at her. And he says, "You do not take your
immediately he shows up and yells attention at her."
Mm-hmm. Yes. And he says, "You do not take your ideas to the XO without going through me first." And he says, "What's the plan?" She basically tells you what I just said, that they're going to use the Raider, she's going to fly it in, but then put it on autopilot and then have the nuke go off. It might get her killed. And he sort of says, I even need every pilot I have, including the screw ups. And then she says, "I'm really sorry." And I'm like, the sorry on its surface seems to be for her going around him and talking to Ty, but it also seems to be her saying sorry for sleeping with Baltar, in which case I'm like, fuck off. She has nothing to apologize.
Yeah, it seems like a big old collective sorry, like a sorry for everything sorry.
Yeah, which she has nothing on that front. You could maybe argue that she subverted the chain of command, and maybe she deserves to apologize for that. But, the sorry about sleeping with Baltar, fuck off. She had every right. Lee doesn't own her. She doesn't owe him a fucking sorry for sleeping with Baltar.
Yeah, this episode has some weird fucking priorities.
Yeah. It's an episode very, very clearly felt like it was written. I want to double check because but it really feels like it's just this is definitely a dude wrote this. Yeah. It was David Icke and Ronald D. Moore wrote this one. I'm curious if Jane Espenson's on this, because Jane Espenson's wrote for the show as well. But I don't know if she came in later on in the series, if she came in season 2 or whatever. But there's a couple other ones. Carla Robinson apparently wrote for last. Oh, no. I guess Carla's a guy. Oh, sorry. I presumed your gender based on your name. So yeah, I don't know how many women...
You monster!
I'm terrible. Yeah, I don't know how many women wrote on the show. The only woman who I know wrote on the show is Jane Espenson, and I don't know when she came on board the show. So, but yeah, definitely an episode that feels written by dudes. So, anyways, we then cut to Billy and Rosalind talking. Billy kind of calls her out that you don't have a right to risk people for a drug-induced vision of prophecy. But she says the gods have different plans. Get me Kara Thrace. And then she talks to, and I was like, yeah, okay, good on Billy. At least he's standing up for like, yeah, don't risk everything for prophecy. I'm like, all right, I appreciate Billy there. But then we cut to Starbuck and Rosalind basically goes through what she told Adama, that she wants Starbuck to go and get the arrow, and kind of use a couple different tactics. Like, the Leoben said all this has happened before, all this will happen again. He said we'd find Kobol, and we did, and we're all playing our parts in a story. And my part in the story is that I'm dying of cancer, she tells her, and that I'm the dying leader, will lead humanity to a promised land, and I will show us the way to Earth. It is crazy, perhaps, but that doesn't mean it's not true. Starbuck sort of stands by Adama, saying, "Oh, well, Adama said that that he knows the way to Earth," and Rosalind sort of breaks her blind trust in Adama, or at least starts to get her to question it by saying he has no idea where Earth is. He made it up to give people hope. Go and ask him.
Yeah, I don't know. Like by the time this happened, I was legit just kind of at a point of going like, I don't even know anymore, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, we then get to Starbuck talking to Adama, and she basically kind of asks him, like, how much longer till we reach Earth? And he just kind of, like, gives non-committal answers. Like, hard to say. You don't like to guess. I'm sure we're getting closer. So, yeah, she kind of intuits, like, yeah, no, he's been bullshitting the whole time.
Yeah.
Then we cut...
So,
yep. Oh, yeah.
This just feels like a bunch of bullet points that needed to happen at this point.
Yeah, honestly, it feels like we're just building up to what they want to do in the season finale. You know what I mean? Just like, all right, get them all where we need them to be to get there.
Which is hopefully better than this.
Mm-hmm. We then cut to the Cylon Raider prep test, where Kara is testing her Cylon Raider, but with Apollo there. But then she asks permission to speak with a Galactic on a scrambled channel. Speaks only to Adama, so only Adama can hear this, but then she calls him out. It's like, I believed you, I believed in Earth. And she says, I'm bringing the cat home, and he says, I remember one thing, I don't regret anything that I did, don't do anything that you'll regret later. And she says, I guess we'll find out. She spins up the FTL drive to head to Caprica with the Raider.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the episode.
Okay.
You're so despondent.
I just, like, I can't parse why this is happening the way that it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very unnecessary. Like, the whole Baltar plot is the thing that, I mean, let's get to the end of the episode. I don't have any spoiler minute. We'll talk more spoiler minute next episode, where I'll have more stuff to talk about.
Okay.
So let's just talk about the episode overall. Yeah, it's not great. It's weirdly misogynistic. The characters are all over the place. I don't buy a lot of it. Feels like it's just trying to get people to places. Yeah. That's really what I have to say about it.
Yeah, like almost every single plot line takes some kind of massive leap ahead. And again, while most of them I can go, okay, like I could see where it eventually might have gotten there, but like it throws me off enough when one plot line jumps ahead and like feels like it's trying to bank on stuff that hasn't happened yet or hasn't been established or hasn't been built up to. But it's like 4 different fucking plot lines do that in this one.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's very weird, and I'm still trying to find like any information behind the scenes of this episode, because it's just so weird. Like, I don't know. Hell, I just found a review of this episode that gave it 4 stars out of 4. What the fuck?
It's well rated on IMDb. I have to assume because people are viewing it like in tandem with the second half, because like generally when you get 2-parters, they're almost always rated the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to.
Or often with the second one being a little bit better because it's got the bigger stuff in it, especially if it's a finale. But like, yeah, no, this is a well-rated episode on IMDb, and I'm like, fucking why?
Yeah, it's real bad. I legitimately, I honestly think this is the worst episode that I've seen of the show so far.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost hands down.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good. And like, the thing is, it's not even a matter of being not good in isolation. It's worse in context.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if I saw this episode randomly on TV, I would assume, like, oh, if I'd been keeping up, this would all make sense.
No.
I have been keeping up, but it fucking doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it somehow frustrates me more that it doesn't make sense and it does all these leaps in terms of the characters, because, like, I can give more leeway for plot turns and conveniences, or like, boy, that's a stretch to get the story to go that way, as long as the characters still make sense and are consistent and behaving in a way that I understand. But it's the characters that are fucked in this one.
Yeah. It's real weird. I don't like it. Can I return it to the server, please?
Yeah.
But yeah, we do have a part 2 next week, which, if I recall, is better, but we'll see. So
fucking goody.
Yeah, we'll get there. With that, anything else to say? This will be a shorter episode. Alrighty then, stuff time.
I want to go to bed.
Stuff time it is then, Vera.
Stuff. You can find my stuff by looking for Council of Geeks. By the time this comes out, Doctor Who should be wrapping up soon, but I've been reviewing that on the main channel. And as well as, new videos every single Saturday on a variety of topics. I can't think of what they've been lately. Like, when I tell you I'm burned out and am ready to crash, I frickin' mean it. I shot so much stuff today. And there you can also find Council of Geeks on Blue Sky. That's about the only place I post. Although I did post on Tumblr randomly today just because I was like, fuck it, I guess. So there's that. And there's also the Break Room of Geeks, where you can see my thoughts on whatever I have watched, listened to, read, or played lately in sort of a casual, laid-back sort of way. That's the geeky stuff. There's also the spicy stuff.
Spicy stuff.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bother. Like, I'm truly, I want to lay down. I'm not even doing sexy voice right now. You can find Vera Wild. Vera Wild, and Wild is spelled WYLDE. You'll find stuff on YouTube. And
I feel like people would have been disappointed if I didn't do it at least a little bit.
It's okay. I'm used to you being disappointing, Vera. Anyways, you can find me at Jesse Gender on YouTube, where I do video essay style stuff. Probably fairly soon, if not already out by the time you listen to this, I'll have a big video essay on Star Wars Andor Season 2. So check that out, and then I've got a big Star Trek video coming in the near future on that channel. I also am on Jesse Gender After Dark, where I do news, reviews, reactions, reviewing all the same stuff that Vera is, and also very soon, don't have an exact release date, but it is coming this summer for Star Trek Strange New Worlds, so be on the lookout for that. I'm on Blue Sky, I have a Patreon that helps me pay my bills, and I am on Nebula, which is the streaming service that houses my movie identities, which you can go check out, and will also be the place where the show Subliminal will be airing, which is a show that I am directing an episode of. I'm directing the episode this coming June, but will air sometime either later this year or early next, so be on the lookout for that. That is everything that I have, Vera. Anything else?
You are lucky I haven't unpacked the clicker.
Yep. Oh, so I could just say whatever the fuck I want now, can I? Yeah.
You could, but then I'll just put a random number on it later.
Well, if I'm going to get a random number anyways, Vera, your face is weird and you smell of farts.
You're not good at it.
No, I'm
Jesse,
not. No.
And you know you're not.
No, I'm not.
It's adorable to watch you try, though. It's okay. I'll forgive you.
No, you won't.
No, I won't.
Well, with that, I hope you all listeners live long, prosper, and get some fucking sleep.
Be seeing you.